Oh my god. Oh my god. I hate using YouTube. I hate using YouTube. Oh my god, that is an echo as well because I've got it up. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer. This is my Xbox and me. I've been so nervous. I've been a bag of nerves, Crash. A bag of nerves.
Yep. He couldn't stop talking about it.
I've been a bag of bloody nerves, and here we are. It's finally out. It's finally out there. The Xbox Series X review. People can watch it. People can see it. How are you feeling? You haven't got your console yet, so how is it for you? What's it like for you right now?
It still doesn't feel like real, you know?
Yeah.
Next
week.
Vicariously through you.
Yeah.
And I see like certain things. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then I walk away for a second. It's like it never happened.
I get that. I do get that. It's like Catch-22, isn't it? Where you're like, well, we know it's out there, we know it's good, but I haven't experienced it yet. And until you get to experience it, you just never know. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I actually have with the Xbox Series X, which we'll talk about it more. Again, anybody in chat, please feel free to ask any questions that you may or may not have about the Xbox Series X. I can answer them all, which is weird. It's weird to be able to talk about it, Crash. It's weird to say I have it. It's weird to say that it's sat here next to me. It's weird to just be free. I feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you got something like that, I'm sure you just want to talk about it. And you've also been getting questions about it, and your answers always like,
embargoed.
I can tell you how many digestives long this is, but that's about it.
So what did you think of the old me memeing it up a little bit with what I was doing with the old Xbox Series X? Because I saw all the comparison videos. I saw everybody had comparison videos. Like, I was like, well, why not? Like, why would I not do this?
I liked it. I thought it was a very modern take by you, I guess.
What you're saying is I'm old. It was a young take by me.
Yes.
What you're saying is I'm old. Yeah, well, it's funny. Haley, it was actually... So, okay, this is how it actually went. So, Haley was like, what we should do is we should compare the Xbox Series X to Nando's bottles. So she did that photo, and I put that photo out.
Yeah.
But no one saw that photo. No one cared about that photo. And I was like, this didn't do too well. I'm like, I've got an idea. And I had digested biscuits, and I was like, let's see how long it is with digestives. And I took the picture, and even the picture you can see is it's not like professionally done. It's just off my iPhone, not lit properly, and like I didn't care about it. It was one of those things I was like, hey, let's just do it. Who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Like, no problem. And then it started gaining traction, and the amount of people that were like, this is genius! Like, I was just like, what? This is not genius, my friend. This is just me being an absolute idiot. But yeah, so we've got the Xbox Series X. My review is now out over on youtube.com/mcfixer. I'm just going to click it and quickly bring it in here so I can show people. So if you hear my voice, I'm sorry. YouTube's being weird and not muting things as quickly as I'd like. So Crash, is there any questions I haven't answered in my review that you saw? Or that you have personally that you're like, well, I'd like to have known this?
I'll be honest. I had a notebook full of questions.
You don't know where that notebook is?
Right here. My notebook is right here.
No, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. It's more
No.
The reason we're doing this right here, right now, is that the My Xbox and Me audience is amazing. It is one of the best things we get to do on a weekly occurrence, and I don't always get to touch base with the My Xbox and Me audience due to usually being live on YouTube, on Twitch, on my personal channel and things like that, right? So now we get to talk about it. I'm like, we've got to do it on the My Xbox and Me channel so the audience can finally have their say and let me know on what they think. So if you have any questions about the Xbox Series X, like I keep saying, feel free to ask. Anything is on the table right now, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I can answer anything. I've got the embargoes in front of me just in case. Like, there's certain games I can only say certain things about, but because they're not out yet. But yeah, in full, it's like we're here. This is it. This is it. We have the Xbox Series X.
I have a very, very important question
Very
that I know
important.
the answer to. But other people are gonna want to know the answer to. We asked this in the so me and Fix recorded
Yeah.
a review with Don't Give a Bit that it didn't end up flowing properly, so
Yeah.
we never ended up putting it out. But there was a question I asked there that I think is really important and everybody's dying to know.
Mm.
Does your Connect work with the Series
No,
X?
the only accessory that doesn't work on the Xbox Series X is the Kinect. That is the only accessory that doesn't work on that console. But other than that, every single accessory that you own works on the Series X. I think there's a couple of steering. I think there's a couple of steering wheels that they're adding compatibility to later on, or we couldn't understand it because me and Mike from Outside Xbox have shot a hour-long podcast as well, which will be going up on the My Xbox and Me feed, but the video will be on my channel. So if you're looking for like a polished 1 hour conversation about the Xbox Series X, you'll be able to get that as well. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. I see NC Hawk 17 in chat. It says, how the Batman games look on it? Unfortunately, I didn't play the Batman games. I was sent a huge pack of brand new games to try on this system, such as Watch Dogs and Madden and Ori and a bunch of other games. So the backwards compatibility games that I played were FIFA, NBA 2K, Resident Evil 2, Fable 2. I guess Ori would technically be backwards compatibility as well, and a few others. But yeah, it's fantastic. I'm so overwhelmed, shocked, happy at how brilliant this system is. It doesn't quite have that next gen feel in terms of, you know, when you get, for me anyway, you know, when you get that next gen console, you're like, wow, I've got the new dashboards and I've got this and I've got that. This just feels like a absolute continuation of the Xbox family is what this is. Yeah. You're gonna get your system, you're gonna be able to do your boot up setup where you download the app and log straight in, and boom, there it is. Your Xbox Series X is now your Xbox One X is now your Xbox Series X. There's no kerfuffing around. There's nothing like that. It's just easy to go.
Yeah. No, I just like hearing everything about it. That really is what it is. And I think there will be a section of people who are disappointed by that, and they're going to open their box. They're going to want that brand new console. But I think Microsoft has been talking about this for a while, and they've really been speaking on it as this is a continuation. This isn't a brand new thing. This is an extension. This is, you can call it a new generation. While it is a new generation, we don't really view it like that, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to go into it, especially if you're getting the new console, to go into it with that mindset, as opposed to this is brand new, everything on it's going to be new UI and all that stuff. Yeah,
I think the good thing what Xbox have done with this console is they've been very upfront. Like, they come out and said there wasn't a new dashboard, so this wasn't like when I woke up and saw the console, I was like, where's the dashboard? What the hell? Like, no, it's they were upfront, they were honest, they said from day one what was there, what wasn't there, and there's not much that isn't there. Like I say, I know you joke about the Kinect, but I think that's the only thing that I can think of what comes to mind that isn't there from the previous generation. You got to remember, we're used to usually fumbling around so much with these consoles. Like, fumbling around, oh, this is this, and that is that, and that doesn't work, and this USB don't work, or it doesn't play. Do you remember when, like, the Xbox One, you put in a Blu-ray, you had to download an app to get the Blu-ray to work, and everything that could have went wrong last gen is completely perfect this gen.
I mean, people don't really... Microsoft was so smart for the way they handle this, where they're like, people aren't going to want to mess around. People aren't going to be like, well, I have these 3 or 4 controllers. Some of them are limited edition.
Yeah.
Some of them I just got from the Xbox Lab where you make your own controller.
Or
And
XO19, which was last year. There were certain
yeah,
controllers there and things like that.
exactly. And it's like we just want those to carry over. So if you bought a limited edition controller, and they had the Cyberpunk controller releasing, I think they released it, right?
Yeah.
Or it's coming out still.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
coming out. It's
So
coming out. Yeah.
right before new consoles drop, and it's like, okay, well that's an old controller. So they have a Star Wars controller coming out that's an old controller, I believe.
Yeah.
It's like all these stuff can still come out, and we don't have to change path or course for those, and you can get those and enjoy them to the fullest, uh, without having to worry about like I need to upgrade now. I need more controllers. I have a brother, a sister, a cousin, or whatever I want to play games with. I need to get another controller now, right?
Yeah,
And
no,
I think
exactly.
that's such a smart move from Xbox.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I feel like it's not going to grab headlines though. It's not the one that's like the
No,
shiny new toy such as PlayStation with the triggers on the controller. Like, that's like
yeah,
the big talking point right now is like, oh, they changed their controller. Oh, they made improvements. It's like, but they needed to make improvements on the DualShock 4. Like, in my opinion, like the DualShock 4 is a very good controller, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the Xbox One
there,
controller.
yeah. I think for that, there's obvious points where they can upgrade it. Like I think if they kept the same, it would have been fine. I don't think
No, I
people would have
disagree
loved
with you.
it. I like the controller, the PS4 controller.
Interesting.
I
I
don't think
think
they need
I
it to
think
upgrade.
I
I think
think
it's
I think
smarter
you're
of
gonna
them, and it's
think
better of them to upgrade
I
it.
think you're gonna think the DualSense is so much better,
Oh,
and
I'm
that's gonna
sure
prove my
that,
point.
but right, but needing to upgrade it, and the benefits of upgrading it are two different things. Like I don't think they needed to upgrade it. I agree with you, and I do agree. I think I'm gonna get the DualShock. I'm gonna be like, oh wow, this is a great improvement, and they definitely should have done this, but I don't think they needed to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess.
you know,
But yeah, it's we're just like I say, so we're in a weird place right now where you'll be able to get these next week. And the question that a lot of people asked me on Twitter was, does it feel next gen? And what feels next gen about it? And my answer always was, and I couldn't say it at the time, but quick resume. Quick resume for me feels like the most next gen feature on this console because it does something that my PC can't do, which is loading in between games. Midway through a game, I can just hit. I had to train my brain to stop exiting games, and that took me a second because you're used to just going down, quick game, move on to the next one, right? Like that's what you
yeah,
do with your Xbox One X or a PC or a PlayStation, whatever. Like with this, it's like untraining your brain to like, oh no, I can just switch. I can just switch. I can just switch. And it takes a second to get used to, but once you've got it going, like yesterday night I was playing Yakuza, and literally I switched into it and I forgot about that the fact that no load time, no reboot up, no nothing of the sort. It's just there, it works, it's done. I'm back in the game.
So while you've been like naturally playing, have you ever run into a hiccup of having too many games on the quick resume? Or that
Yes.
hasn't.
Yeah, no, it
has
did.
happened?
Yeah, I had I tried to for the test I was doing, I tried to get 10 games running on it at once. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was like Gears of War that absolutely just made it go crazy because of the online connectivity and things like that, or if it was just the fact that it wasn't ready because we then got an email about patch notes and things like that as well as.
Yeah.
But the most games I could get running on it at one time without it feeling any type of way was around 4 to 5 games at one time, and like I clicked. Like you're saying, did I have any trouble? There was one time I clicked into Dirt knowing that it was already in quick resume and it hadn't. It restarted for me because I was like, okay, clearly I don't know the technology. I don't know the technical term for it, but clearly I had like maxed out what it could do at that moment and was like, nope, we got to reboot this. It's only gonna take 17 seconds or whatever it may be, but
Right.
there you go. Like load times can't be underappreciated on this new console. Like,
Yeah. It's a weird thing because I do think that the load time to get into games, because quick resume is a thing, is going to start of like get overlooked the longer the console is out, and people are going to stop paying as much attention to it. Then you do have the mid game load times, which I've seen through you that like those are so much faster for most games. Most games cut at least like about the halfway mark for a
Yeah.
lot of games, which is crazy.
the thing that you've not seen yet though is when you're just playing games, like those loads.
Yeah.
Like again, playing Yakuza, I'm like clicking, and I'm clicking through, and I'm just skipping past all the menus, and it's like boom, 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 bam, back in the gameplay. Boom, boom, and like it's just instant. There's no wait.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
wait in your head. Like that second that you think you have to look away at the screen, it's not there
Look at your
anymore.
phone or
It's just
something,
not.
there.
It doesn't exist anymore. It really
Yeah.
doesn't.
I've been playing Yakuza, and I was actually thinking about that. Where there's some parts where it's like a pretty long load time, and I'm just thinking to myself like, I wonder how quick this will be on next gen. Um, I'm really interested to see that because I do think that'll be the really big point, and I'm really interested to see what developers do with that
It will be
time and
loaded.
if they find better way to utilize it.
It will be loaded faster than you could say how quick will it. It's already done.
Really,
It's already done.
Interesting.
It's a magical moment when you're playing the games. When you're playing the games, it doesn't feel as next gen like I said before, but it feels like sorcery to me. It really does, where it's like, oh, that shouldn't just happen, that shouldn't just work, and there's just so much.
It's not next gen in terms of feature, but it's next gen in terms of hardware.
Well,
I wonder if
I disagree with you there though, because
even that.
Well, yeah, because quick resume's a feature.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. When I said features, I was thinking more like UI and stuff. That,
there isn't
as opposed to no, yeah.
The UI is much faster on the Xbox Series X, like much faster. No, not
Right.
like noticeably
But that-
faster when you're clicking in that menus. I'm like, it's that thing where we go, oh yeah, but it's supposed to be, but it isn't necessarily. Like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't. It don't add up.
I know you like the having new UIs for new consoles,
Yeah.
but I really like the fact that they kept it uniform and it didn't go for a completely new UI. And while it is upgraded and is pretty different, it's still very similar to the old Xbox UI. I'm glad they didn't do that because I think new UI in consoles is always like a really big hit or miss. And with Sony, where Sony doesn't have the most well-perceived UI, it's easier for them to go into an UI, and the worst case for them is most likely that it'll be as bad / good as their last UI, right?
Yeah.
Where Microsoft, I feel like they were at a good spot with their UI, and they didn't really need to reinvent the wheel, so to say. They just needed to make it work better. Same with the store.
Yep.
Which, from what I've heard and what I've used on the new store, it feels better. So I can only imagine how much better it is on the Series X.
Yeah, everything. Again, Lexton, thank you so much. Again, if you want to see my full review, it's out right now on youtube.com/mcfixer. You can watch it. It goes through quick resume, the design of the console, performance, games I played on it, and much, 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 much more. And again, we will have a conversation with me and Mike from Outside Xbox as well, talking for about an hour long, all about the Xbox Series X, which will go up on the My Xbox and Me feed as well. Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. It's great. Yeah. It's amazing. And that's the thing where I'm like, how can something so amazing just be here? Just here. It almost felt like it snuck up on me.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, it also has to do with like the way the consoles were announced and shown off. I could really see that. I'm very interested to see once the console gets out to the public, how the public perceives it.
Oh, yeah.
And how they start utilizing like quick resume. Is that going to be something that people talk about, or is that going to be something that a lot of people overlook?
Yeah,
because there are people who only play like 1 or 2 games, so quick resume might not be something that they necessarily really pay attention to, especially if the game still has to connect to online.
Yeah.
Where they still will have maybe a longer load time for that and everything. So I'm really curious to see. I think from everything I've heard and seen so far, though, that Microsoft's absolutely knocked it out of the water with this.
Yeah, there's so much that you could talk about, but there's so much that I would rather show. And I'm going to be showing it over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mcfixer, for anyone who wants to come and watch all over the weekend. There's so many little things that you'll just be like, oh, that happened. Oh, that's done. Oh, that. And you take it for granted until you have it yourself. It's going to make your gaming habits and experiences that much better. and not with just first party games, with every game you experience. Even older games, like I say, Resident Evil 7's load time's gone from its boot up load time has gone from 32 seconds, I believe, down to 17. Which, when you say it like that, it sounds not that big, but when you see it, when like in my review you can see it, it's humongous. Like it's huge. GTA goes from a minute and 54 on the Xbox One down to 54, I think. Something like that, along those lines, where I'm like, wow, just loading into your games is going to be faster. Now imagine when you, like I say, when you walk into a shop in a game and it does that load screen thing or the splash screen. It's not there anymore. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of like empty space that launch screens have sort of created to like sort of make you not realize like, oh, it's still loading in, that we're gonna start seeing them do away with.
And then the difference,
we've already seen it,
and then we'll see the difference in gameplay. That's the one thing where the Xbox Series X, unfortunately, is kind of let down for me. I don't know if it will be for everybody, because if anybody who wants a Series X or a Series S, you're gonna get to play Gears Tactics for the first time, and that game's phenomenal. I know you didn't love it, but I really liked it when I played it on PC. And now you get to experience that. Unfortunately, I've already experienced that. Again, playing that and playing Madden. I've been playing Madden. So, and it doesn't have that next gen feel the way, say, when we finally get our hands on like NBA 2K. Like that's going to be a new game. They've done the work. With this, it just feels like it looks better. It runs a little bit better. It's not fully quite there yet.
Yeah, I mean, we also haven't really seen any games that like really utilize the hardware or the SSDs in any significant way.
Yeah.
And so until we see that, I don't think we'll really see a game that feels next gen, which is a shame, right? Because we were supposed to be getting a Halo Infinite, and that really would have been probably the game that really pushes that.
Yeah.
But obviously that was delayed, probably for the better of the game.
The console misses Halo. It really, it misses Halo, and I said on the podcast that we did with Mike that, or it should have had that, you know, that Gears of War DLC they're teasing now.
Yeah,
that should have been their day one. They should have somehow, I don't know how, again, especially with the conversation around crunch and things like that. If they've got a perfect work-life balance, don't force nobody to do nothing. But if that was there, it would have been something for me to get my teeth into. And what I will say about Gears 5 though is all its new mutators on it are so fun. The big head bobblehead mode is so fun. Seeing these Gears characters who already have giant bodies now have humongous heads, and they're in cutscenes. Like they're in the cutscenes as well. So you just got like Kate crying, and it's like her giant head as she's doing it, and I'm like,
comedy.
I'm like, wow, this just doesn't impact the same way, but it's just so fun.
Yeah.
Lighting is amazing. HDR, amazing. Auto HDR, just being there and turning each game on. I didn't realize you've spoken about lighting on the podcast before, but I didn't realize how important lighting was until I got this console.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, playing it on my OLED is like I hate playing games here now. Like it's ruined it for me. Like I now want like a bigger monitor, which is like different. Again, it's a work thing, so this does HDR and stuff, but like on a 55-inch, you can really tell all of its little intricacies and differences.
And this is without I don't know if any game has ray tracing right now. This is without ray tracing. So imagine once games start utilizing ray tracing and you start seeing those in games. And ray tracing is generally just a big improvement in lighting and reflections and stuff like that. It's gonna add a certain level of realism to games that I don't think we've really seen. I mean, the difference for a game like Minecraft with ray tracing and not ray tracing is like night and day. It is so obviously different, right?
Yeah. No, you've hit the nail on the head there, mate, honestly. I don't know where else to go with this. Like I say, there's so much content out there. If anyone's got any questions, again, this is why this is happening. If you have any questions, let them know right now. Otherwise, we're going to go play games on this Series X over on twitch.tv/mcfixer. But yeah, go check out my review over on my channel. Goes into a little bit more depth. I worked really hard on it, so if you can go drop a comment, go like it, go share it.
It's a good video. I
Alright.
really recommend going and watch it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's plug. Where can people find you, Krish? What are you up to, and where can people find it?
You can find me on Twitter at CrushNickPlays.
Oh. Like I say, go check out my Series X review. We will have a normal episode of My Xbox and Me going up. I'll talk to Krish and we'll try and get it out tomorrow. I guess we'll do a full normal My Xbox and Me. I've played Watch Dogs, I've played Yakuza, I've played, depends on what time we record, other things. So I've been playing a lot of games, so there's going to be a lot out there for you all. But thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. Until next time, I will love you, leave you, and see each and every one of you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.